And we want to begin this broadcast by heading straight to the ground down south. I-24 News correspondent Mary McAuliffe with the I-24 News team there on the Israel-Gaza border. Mary, the main focus today as well is the Hamas stronghold of Khan Yunis, and we're seeing intense fighting above and underground.
That's absolutely right, Ellie. Today, publishing that they had found a major terror tunnel that underlied Khan Yunis underneath a cemetery. They said this was a major terror tunnel that was used for operations, headquarters, and living quarters of some senior Hamas officials. The IDF said that when it went underground to investigate, it did also find a number of terrorists inside, which were eliminated. The IDF today said that some 2,000 Hamas terrorists have been killed in the entire month that IDF has been operating in Khan Yunis. We cannot confirm these numbers, but certainly a large number for the Israeli army as they continue to try and push further south into the Gaza Strip. Main focus, of course, Khan Yunis, where they are specifically focusing on trying to root out some of the senior officials and senior leaders of the Hamas movement. We do know today that a number of different evacuation orders were issued for several areas around Khan Yunis as well as in Khan Yunis, with the IDF estimating that some 105,000 Palestinians left to go to a safer corridor that was designated by the IDF as a safe corridor, but that they do estimate that some 20,000 to 30,000 remain inside Khan Yunis. We can also tell you that in further parts of northern of Gaza Strip, we did hear sounds of intense fighting ongoing today, a number of different airstrikes and mortar shells being launched by the IDF army throughout the day in that northern part of the Gaza Strip, where the IDF has said for months now that it is in full operational control of. But there are renewed fears now that perhaps Hamas, as IDF pushes further south, Hamas is moving further north.
Right, and in this respect, Mary, briefly before we let you go, we do see more units of reservists getting out of the Gaza Strip. What does it mean? Does it mean that the fighting is nearing conclusion or not necessarily?
And I think it all really depends on what you define as a conclusion when it comes to Israel's operation. We do know that it has been in the works now for some time to try and scale back its operations inside the Gaza Strip. This is both as they try and launch more targeted missions in specific areas and in specific corridors where they try and root out specific targets in their operation. It, of course, does come amidst all of this international pressure, growing calls for a ceasefire, as well as these renewed efforts for a ceasefire. So it is likely all playing into this as IDF is shifting its tactics away from what really was a slash and burn campaign in the north, trying to make sure all the civilians first left and then narrowing down on these terror targets, which they said were all throughout the northern Gaza Strip. But we do continue to see these terror tunnels and the ability of Hamas to fire rockets. This is what we saw today at central Tel Aviv. So clearly the IDF still has work ahead of them.